the great things about the Isle of Man Arts Festival is because you do seem to offer these opportunities for people to view and experience art in different locations, whether it is in the artist's own homes, which is quite an extraordinary opportunity, and also in unusual buildings, unusual locations around the island. And I'm sure there's some more of that coming up this next weekend.
Well, we try and keep it fresh every time and have a few
pop-up
new
venues.
venues. So whenever anybody is sort of keen to sort of join in and open up their doors, we pounce on them, really, because we started off doing that at the very beginning. And of course it's fascinating to see where people really do all their thinking and their working, and it's very generous, I think, of artists to allow the public to come and see them doing it, because it's quite an self-isolation as an artist, I suppose. That sort of activity is quite private usually.
It is, isn't it? And I think that all strikes me when I've gone around, that you know, these people you wouldn't know. You might have walked past a house or spoke to someone, and then all of a sudden you think, oh, you do that, do you? Wow, that's amazing, and you didn't realise that they're at the back. They have a little studio, that a spare room, and they're doing jewellery, they were doing art, they were doing prints, they were doing whatever. And you think, goodness, it is, as you say, a bit like writing, I suppose. Can be quite a sort of an isolated hobby until you actually get it out there and people see it and enjoy it.
Yeah, and the island's got there's so many creatives here as well that we're very fortunate, aren't we? And the festival is well supported by the creative community, although a bit pared down this year to what we'd normally see. There's so many creatives here, it's incredible, a lot of talent on the Isle of Man. And
so many different formats and different media as well. And I mean, even just looking at your work as well, you do so many different things, don't you?
I do a lot of different things.
I have to ask you, I posted a link to the page on your website that is your dioramas, which I find fascinating. Just explain what these are.
They're tiny little models of varying scales of imaginary and Manx landscapes on different objects. Cotton reels is a series of scenes on top of cotton reels, keys, little fragments that I've been collecting over the years, and the scales vary, maybe about 1 to 300, the smallest.
Gosh.
Tiny trees and landscapes and lighthouses and seascapes, and they seem to enchant people. People like to chat about them.
There is something very magical about them.
Yeah, you kind of get lost in them if you look closely enough. And for everyone that requested magnifying glasses, last weekend I'll be bringing 2 with me to Peel, where I'll be in Myra's lovely studio. I'll be bringing magnifying glasses with me so that everyone can have a good look.
And you like the automata that Eve makes as well, don't you? Because you make these sort of moving art as well.
Yeah,
I have done. On the sort of pegs almost, weren't they? They were tiny.
Oh, yes, yeah. They're a bit of a labour of love. They take me so long, so I haven't got any at the moment. But yeah, they're really even more magical. The movement element really adds an extra dimension to them, I think. Yeah, people really like them. I'll try and get some done for next year's festival, or, well, the year after that.
And Eve, you two are sharing the space this coming weekend, I think with another artist as well, is that right? So tell us a little bit about what space you'll be occupying.
Well, it's the back of the house, that's what I can say, really. And it sort of sticks out into the garden, so people can actually access it, through the garden. And we don't know really how nervous people might feel about the virus and so on. So we've made sure we can make it as safe as possible. And they can wait in the garden, if they have to. But the space itself is basically our sitting room, but it's been sort of converted to take all 3 of us and allow enough space to talk about work if people want to.
Yeah, I'll be doing a bit of work there as well and showing my techniques.
I might try. Yes.
It's an excellent opportunity because you can speak to the artists and you can see work happening.
Yeah,
it's quite difficult to get
going on, don't we, throughout the festival.
Difficult to get not a conversation, to get work done during the weekend.
Yeah, it is. We do try though.
Yeah, we do try. Yes.
So what times are we talking about if people want to go along? What sort of times will the venues be open?
Most venues are 11 till 5. A couple of venues have specific opening times. We've got a lot of artists in the foyer of the House of Manannan. We also have an exhibition there at the moment called Boundaries, which is some of our member artists are taking part in. I think their opening hours are slightly different, but we have a guide online on our website. I think you've shared the link. And all the individual venues are listed there with their opening times. So I'd recommend having a check before you go out, but generally 11 till 5. Venues across Peel and Laxey this weekend. Oh, and Onchan. There's 2 open studios in Onchan.
St John's.
Yeah, St John's, Element Isle, their new shop. We're really worth a look at Tynwald Mills in St John's. So yeah, dotted around all over the place.
And share some of the names of some of the other artists as well that we can see this weekend.
At the Sailors' Shelter, there's
3 artists in the Sailors' Shelter in Peel.
Corrin.
Janet Corrin,
there?
who's
And
known
Vicky
for her
Blackburn.
installations. Vicky Blackburn is a ceramicist.
Yes, and then Laura Espinosa's opening her workshop studio right along the prom near the Craig Malin, and I think she's sharing with Ellie Baker.
Mhm.
There's a lovely Manx landscapes on seascapes, I think, primarily, and landscapes on display there.
I think the Centenary Centre have got an art group that's just showing
Oh yeah,
at the same
that's a
time.
new one. I'll be updating the website
think-
with that one later at the
I
Centenary
think
Centre.
slightly shorter hours, but both days, I think 11 till 3.
Val Galpin and maybe Olive Wassell we're waiting to confirm. They might have their home studios open too, and they're in Onken, so you can plan a route around the island, taking in quite a lot of different media and artists as you go.
And the whole festival is organised by the Creative Network.
It is, yeah. That's us. That's a group of around 70 Manx artists, just trying to make opportunities for artists, voluntary group.
Yeah.
We try to organise exhibitions and art fairs and just keep art visible
Yeah.
on the Isle of Man as much as we can, really.
And we help artists know where the other artists are.
Yeah,
'Cause
make
one of the
connections
joys-
between each other.
I think one of the joys of the festival is the artists themselves have an opportunity
Mhm.
they don't normally have, which is to see each other's work, especially now it's over across 2 weekends. It means that one half can see the other half.
Yeah.
And as you say, it's a great chance to celebrate the wealth of artistic talent. This is all visual art that we have on the island. A lot of people might not know about, so it's also a chance again to see people appreciate more art you might have not seen before, or even someone, like I say, someone you might know who's just art in their
Yeah,
studio in the back
definitely.
garden or something. It's terrific. So if people are interested, they want to find out details, is there a website, did you say they could get the
Yeah.
details from?
It's the Creative Network. creativenetwork.im. And on the homepage, there's a link right there for the online festival guide, which is up to date. There are guides around the island, but do check online before you go out, because we've had some cancellations and alterations at the last minute. But yeah, all the info's on there. It's quite a comprehensive guide, and there's also links on there to all of our artists. They've got their own pages, so you can have a browse and check out our member artists while you're there.